like to call the Dalton Select Board meeting to order. Please rise and join us for the pledge. Mr. Boyle, will you please lead us?
Sure.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call vote. Roll call attendance.
John Boyle.
Here.
Mark Stroud.
Here.
Robert Collins.
Here.
Dan Esco.
Here.
Our town manager, Thomas Hutchison.
Here.
And our chair, Robert Bishop, on Zoom.
Okay. Just want to make the public aware that the meeting's being recorded by Zoom for the purpose of taking minutes and by Dalton Community Television for broadcast to the public. All right. First up, we have the minutes from January 27th, 2025, February 10th, 2025, and February 24th, 2025.
I only see one copy of the minutes from January 27th in my packet.
I'm only seeing the 27th printed,
I
but
get one for
it's
the
probably emailed.
23rd?
February 10th and February 24th were not available.
Okay. All right, so we will only, I'll entertain a motion for January 27th only.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we approve the minutes for Monday, January 27th, 2025.
Second.
Okay. Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? Any changes? Hearing none, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And we have one abstention from Mr. Collins, who was not present. Well, you were present, but you weren't elected yet. Okay. All right. This is the time for the public address of the board. Any member of the public may address the board on any item listed on the meeting agenda or on any issue or matter of the town. If you intend to address the board at this time, we ask that you do the following. Please identify yourself by name, address of the company or institution you represent. The public address to the board segment will last no longer than 30 minutes. Each individual will be given 3 minutes. Please try to make your comments concise and try not to repeat statements made by others. Please address your comments to the board chair. Discussion or debate on any issue may not take place at this time. And the chair or their designee may answer questions on procedural matters. Please be cordial and respectful of others. If anyone wishes to be recognized when the board discusses an agenda item, please make that request at this time. The board chair may grant this request. We are meeting in person and making this meeting available via Zoom for the convenience of the public. Since we're meeting in person, we will not be responsible for any technical difficulties. So if you'd like to be sure of participating, please attend in person. Yes, right there in the green sweater.
Hi, my name is Lisa Pugh. Would like to be recognized when we get to the items regarding Berkshire Concrete. And also I was wondering if I could make a request to see if it'd be possible to move items 9 and 11 to the beginning of the agenda. If that would be possible. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'll address the request to move the agenda items. We have the main reason to hold this meeting tonight, this is an off-schedule select board meeting, was to go over some very important budget matters in the town meeting warrant. That was the primary reason to hold a separate meeting. We did add on some agenda items, but in the interest of addressing those items as well as the department managers who've come to attend and present on these items, I would say we need to keep those agenda items at the front. Any opinion from the board?
I think we ought to listen, take up 9 and 11, just for the audience. It's not a huge deal here. It's correspondence
Okay.
regarding the zoning change.
All right, so
Where's this
Scott, we don't have to go
correspondence?
into the, so you're saying we should push them
Yeah,
up?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other opinions?
I'm okay with it.
So I especially about this watching, but I know.
Ian, is there supposed to be a correspondence with this request?
I can speak to that.
Okay,
Okay.
Or Bob can.
go ahead.
Any objection? Tom?
No.
Okay, well, fair enough. We'll move 9 and 11 up to the front then. Okay.
Lynn Griffin, I live at 33 Florence Street, and I'm here to talk about Berkshire and Concrete.
Okay.
Ron Griffin, I live with her, 33 Florence Street,
Yeah,
and I'd like to reserve my right to speak on the picture.
certainly.
Jimbo Doucette, 10 Drive, I didn't want to speak on items, not on legislation.
Henry Rose, North Mountain Road. I may wish to speak on Berkshire Concrete and also on the search committee. And also, if I might, I'd like to propose that we change the bylaw that says in order to be town manager, you need to be a resident of the town after 1 year. I don't think that helps ensure that we get a better town manager. I think it will allow us to get more applicants.
Okay, thank you.
Dave Q, 140 Rivers Drive. I'd like to talk, if possible, about 9 and 11 on the agenda.
Okay. Any, yeah, Zoom?
Go ahead, Joe.
Go ahead, Joe.
Hey, Dave, I'd like to address number 11 when you get to it.
Okay, thank you.
Mike McPherson, 128 Mill Street Extension. I'd like to speak on items 9 and 11.
Okay.
My name is Tom Merlin. I live at 54 Central Ave. My comments tonight relate to the ultimate discussion that will occur, probably not tonight, but in the future, in regard to the town manager search committee. When the select board does consider the approach to Dalton that they'll take in hiring a new town manager, I would like to suggest that Dalton consider using an executive search firm to assist in the process. A feature of the executive search firms that I believe is particularly impactful is the in-depth job postings. The first 3 handouts that you have this evening provide 3 such examples. I believe these more comprehensive job postings provide the breadth of information that will attract many stronger candidates. Many communities throughout the Commonwealth use these firms with excellent results. Your 4th handout is a listing of the communities that have used one such firm, and that represents 40% of the communities in the state. Of note, for preparing these postings, the search firms not only find the needed technical information, but also speak with stakeholders to define the desired characteristics of candidates. In Great Barrington, which resulted in 12 candidates, which the committee is currently reviewing, the process takes approximately 3 months to complete and costs approximately a very reasonable $15,000. The final issue I'd like to encourage the board to discuss is salary. As you can see on the bottom of the Great Barrington posting, the current town manager's salary is $162,000. In May of 2022, Williamstown paid their incoming manager $155,000. And recently in Lennox, with their new incoming manager, they jumped the position salary to also $155,000. Compete for the pool of candidates we might prefer, I believe that it will be important to give careful consideration increasing the salaries we offer. As a final note, there are only 4 communities in the state of Massachusetts that require the town manager to be resident in that community, and Dalton is one of those. Thank you for your attention and consideration of these suggestions.
Thank you, Mr. Irwin. Any other audience members who wish to speak now or on an agenda item?
Richard Holt, 164 Greenbridge. I might want to be recognised on number 9, but I do have a question about that. As the Times is actually an abutter to this project, the Times is owned by the town, so who represents the town and who should I talk to in the town that's going to represent, the townspeople as the townsman above? See what I'm getting at?
Sure. I would imagine town manager and town council would probably be the people who would do that, in my view. Mr. Hutchison, any opinion on that?
No, I'd rather not discuss anything during this.
Okay, fair enough. All right. Any other audience members? Okay. We'll move into item number 9, correspondence regarding proposed zoning change for Berkshire Concrete Parcel 105-16. I believe there's some background information that town manager can share on this item.
The chair of the planning board, Bob Bishop, I don't know if you want to speak to this, but the chair received a request for the select board to enter into zoning activity, and the purpose of this agenda item is so that the select board can explain your position and the planning board's position and defer the matter to the planning board if that is what you think is the best thing to do.
I'm still baffled. What are we talking about here? A zoning change?
Bob Bishop, if you can hear me, you want to explain the communication you got? As far as I know, it was simply a communication to request the select board to make a zoning change regarding the Berkshire Concrete operation.
Well,
And
Bob, hold on a
that's
second.
correct, John. That's correct. What we're gonna do, I told him we put on the agenda and explain how that works. We can't make the zoning change. We want to explain the process of making the zoning change, and I don't even know if we can, so.
Okay, I'll weigh in. So zoning changes are the purview of the planning board, which is an elected board, elected by townspeople. The process for a zoning change could come from the planning board, it could come from a citizen's petition. But ultimately, it has to go before the planning board, and a public hearing needs to be held where everyone can be heard, and a determination can be made whether to advance the zoning change proposal to town meeting or not. There's certainly a lot of stakeholders involved, and I'd imagine the planning board would want to gather a lot of information if they were going to consider zoning changes, not just from concerned residents, but also consultants, attorney, so on and so forth. So the select board does not have authority over changing zoning directly. We certainly have involvement as citizens, and as a board we could make a recommendation, but we really don't have the authority to change zoning. So I think this was just trying to address that letter that was sent, or email that was sent to the board regarding the zoning for this particular parcel. So that was really the purpose of this being on the agenda this evening. We did not put anything else on the agenda to have conversations about Berkshire Concrete. However, I will certainly entertain some of the comments from folks in the audience who want to speak on the matter, but there really won't be any further discussion other than listening to what you have to say tonight. Yes. Just state your name and address again for the record.
I'm sorry, I need a little assistance.
Oh, sure.
This is a map you've seen before of our neighborhood. And you need to see it? Excellent. Here is the sand mine, the new sand mine on lot 106-16. And I live right here. I'm about 720 feet from it. My name is Lynn Griffin. I live there at 32 Florence Street. I've had the sand on my property for over 2 years. But since the fall of 2024, something changed. There were times when strong winds from the west or northwest added sand, filling the air and covering everything in alarming amounts. I went on Google Earth to find out where the sand could be coming from. Lo and behold, northwest of my house was a sand mine that I didn't even know about. This is what my neighborhood looked like on last weekend. A week ago. We have been told that no work is being done on lot 105-16, but the sand is still blowing onto the neighborhood. And it's like disgusting. Amazingly, these people that live over here, the Provengers, us, and I think you aren't either considered abutters, even though we're getting the sand from the sand mine. My yard is to the right of this. This is Prospect Street. My yard is here. And on this side is Annie Provenger. And then further beyond my house, across the road, are the Pearsons, and we all have lung complications. We are concerned that when we see sand, we are also being subjected to small particulate matter. This is not right. Do we have to move in order to protect our health? 3 of us. Boom, boom, boom. Sick. Skewed to last weekend that we just had. Wasn't it gorgeous? It was like spring, beautiful. The snow was melted, warm temperatures. Guess what the children that live here did? There's children in that house. There's children in this house. They were out riding their bikes, playing basketball, running around. Do these children deserve to breathe in this air, particulate matter? Notice I'm not saying silica, because it doesn't matter if it's silica, it's particulate matter that stays in the air for over 12 days and travels more than a half a mile. So on this map, here is the American Legion Fields. If it's blowing, it's reaching the American Legion Fields. And last weekend, we took a ride down to Center Pond, which is about here. It was covered with sand. It's not just our immediate neighborhood, it's all over. So, it stays in the air for 12 days, and it's been 7 days since the heavy winds on March 7th to 9th. And the kids are out playing in this air, and it's in the air, the particulates. Some particulate matter is so small that it can penetrate deep into lungs and even the bloodstream. The smaller the particle, the more dangerous, and it need not be silica. It can be just very small, 2.5. How do you pronounce it? I think it's home.
Yeah.
Shame on Dalton if it doesn't do something to stop this very serious health hazard. And we are tired. Do we have to move? Do people with children have to move to protect them? This is not right. That's all I need to say.
Thank you.
Yes, sure things.
Hi, I'm Lisa Pugh, 140 Raymond Drive. I just wanted to give you all copies. I know you all received an email, so I just wanted to give you, printed copies so it'd be easier. And just let you know that we did turn in a petition today. I'm not sure if the correspondence that you were referring to that you received was something that came from our group requesting the select board be involved in zoning. I'm not sure who that might have come from, but I think our request about getting involved in zoning is we know that it's processed and it has to go to the planning board, eventually to a town vote. And our goal is to just make awareness of this, so that all boards in the whole town is aware, our desire to have that zoning changed and for the particular matter to be stopped immediately. So this information in here kind of shows a historical record of Berkshire Concrete's failure to be a good corporate citizen. It is a generational disregard for Dalton. I mean, we have articles here going back to 1976. There's things that were even prior to that. So this has gone on for a very long time, and we are here to say, let's put this to an end. We have been very appreciative of every board that we've gone to. Everybody has been so supportive. And so we are just wanting to keep the momentum going and hoping to say, let's all be able to come together to make this change and to make this stop. And, Lynn spoke about the health issues, and it's, that's the most important thing. This is everyone, children, all ages, people are inhaling this on a daily basis. So every day that it's not stopped is a day that we're breathing this in. And so we have an incredible sense of urgency, and so we just want to keep that going with the town, and we appreciate all of your efforts to do that. The wording of the petition is here. We are asking that the town seeks approval of all future permits to Berkshire Concrete Corporation for parcel 105-16, zone parcel 105-16 to protect it from all commercial purposes in perpetuity, enforce strict reclaiming of parcel 105-16 to include but not be limited to regrading steep slopes, mulching mats to protect the seed, and reforestation. Cease all work at the entire mine site until corrective action to address all violations has been completed and approved by the proper governing authorities. Enforce permit conditions in a timely manner. This is a big issue. We noticed just these conditions have not been monitored or enforced. Continually monitor the air quality at the site and in the neighborhood, and then only if the correct actions do not achieve and maintain full compliance with permits concerning the prevention of dust leaving the Berkshire Concrete property line within 24 hours of implementation, then we respectfully request that all mining operations be permanently enjoined and barred for the entire operation. We would like to just see 105-16, no work to be done any time there anymore and to mitigate all of that dust. However, dust cannot be stopped from leaving the property line, even though operations are happening on the rest of it. We would like to see that whole thing closed. We don't want that to have to happen. We want them to have mitigation efforts for their business. We want them to be in business. But if that is harming us and harming our health, then it just can't be happening anymore. It needs to be somewhere else where it's not going to be coming into a neighborhood. So that is what you have there in your packet with some other supporting documents. And thank you very much for listening. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll just quickly mention, the board hasn't received this really in time for any discussion on this, but I will say that, again, the planning board is the permitting authority for the special permit. The select board is obviously going to be involved, but ultimately it's the planning board that governs the special permit, and the zoning enforcement officer enforces that permit. The zoning enforcement officer did issue a cease and desist order at this site while there is investigation being done. The select board will not be able to address this at this time, but thank you very much. We'll certainly take into consideration, and I'm hoping that the town manager will share it, or if it hasn't already been shared with the planning board, that this is also forwarded to the planning board, please. Any more comments on item 9?
Well, I just want to make sure that you received a letter from us, me and my husband, from 170 Raymond Drive, Melissa and Eli Hassoon.
Yes, we
Okay.
did receive that letter.
Okay.
Yes.
I just want to put it on record, something that's never happened before, and this year I went out, I have pictures to show that, but
Can
and
that
also
le-
I have a question too.
Sure.
Like, this property, is it zoned commercial or is it zoned residential?
It's zone residential, special permit required for the activity, so.
Okay, so
Yeah.
okay, so really, the commercial work, wouldn't they need to ask abutters?
Yes,
We are a
in the
direct
context
abutter.
of special permit application and renewal, the abutters are notified, and technically it's only the abutters whose properties truly abut.
Well, we
Yeah.
are,
Yeah,
and I think all the people on Raymond Drive also are. And I had somebody coming up last spring, I think it was, marking property lines, and when I asked what it was regarding, I never got notification of anything that was new that was happening on that property.
I see.
Can
Okay.
I answer her question about that?
Yes, I want to avoid a large-scale public forum on this matter because, again, this is not the purview of this board at this time. I'll continue to entertain comments from the audience, but I really need to limit the time on this agenda item as much as possible to allow for enough time for the rest of the agenda that the select board does need to attend to that's of equal importance at least. But yes, please.
Oh, okay, sorry, I don't want to take your time. And the reason the butters were not notified is because that lot number was left off the permit. So for three, that's why 3 years we didn't get, we should have been notified, I think it was in 2022 when it started. But that lot number was not on the permit, so the wrong butters were notified 3 years in a row, that's why we didn't know. Until we went back and was on ourselves.
So the next regular planning board, yep, there's some more. I will get to the rest of the folks. I just want to mention the next regular planning board meeting where this really should be adjudicated is, I believe, this Wednesday, the 19th. So I would encourage all audience members to attend that meeting because that is ultimately where the matter will be adjudicated. The select board is obviously concerned, and we wrote a letter last week urging the planning board to take certain actions with regards to the special permit. But that's where we've left it. So I'll take several more audience member comments, people who in the beginning said they wanted to speak. Yes.
Mike Van News of 128 Hill Street Extension. So in regards to just the overall matter that is going on, again, to the Griffin's point on, the state of the sand that's coming into the neighborhoods over the weekend, has the enforcement officer made inroads to going back to the site just to see the extent and, just based on his anecdotal observations of it, whether or not this situation that is happening in neighborhoods is directly caused by what's going on in the sand mine?
I do not have any update from the zoning enforcement officer to be able to answer that question.
Is that something that would be addressed at the planning board eventually? Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Certainly, yes.
Okay.
The zoning enforcement officer really would not report to the select board unless we requested. We did ask that the zoning enforcement officer go to the site, but I have not heard any update, so.
So we should expect something by Wednesday?
I would imagine, but, I cannot speak for what the planning board will be able to tell you, or if there is in fact an update.
So
I'm
the other,
sorry.
that's fine. The other issue is, assuming that is the case, and I think anybody in this room can agree that's what's causing it. So based on what the town can do for an immediate, relief to the neighbors in the area, what options do we have available to us? And by that I mean, we know what the mitigations are that they're supposed to be doing that are not currently being done, which is put water on the hill. So, given, the town has its own, equipment to do such a thing, i.e. fire department, has anybody thought or considered that at all? As an immediate action that can be done?
There is a seaside.
There's a cease and desist.
Is in effect right now.
No further activity can happen, of course, with the abatement question. No, to my knowledge. Again, I'm going to probably not answer any more questions because I really don't have that information. I don't know. I wish I could give more answers. Wish I had answers. Is this on the is it on the agenda for this Wednesday?
It is. Yes.
Okay. Will the zoning enforcement officer be present? Does anyone know? Have they been asked to attend?
I can't answer that, but he has been good about the last couple meetings. So we can send a request tomorrow day.
How about we tell him? Instead of asking.
Sorry, it's just, my point is that the town can do something if it so chooses to help the neighborhood. That's not the part.
That would require him to be at the meeting.
I'll make a motion, we require the enforcement officer be there.
I'll second that.
Okay. So there's been a motion made and seconded to require the zoning enforcement officer attend the planning board meeting. I'm not sure we can legally require him to do that, but we can certainly ask him to in the functions of his job.
I would like to amend that motion, Mr. Chairman, to request the building inspector to be there Wednesday night.
Okay, so you're amending to request. I'll second the amendment to the motion. And what we can do is discuss that amendment if you'd like, and then we can vote on the amendment first, and then the motion is amended. So,
Sure.
discussion.
He works for us. He works for the town, he works for us. We tell him to be there, he has to be there.
Okay?
I'm sort of in the same boat that if a note, a letter is sent to him requesting his presence at a Wednesday meeting, that there shouldn't be a problem. We, you know, whether it's a request or a polite ask, I mean, I'd like to think he would not deny us.
Right,
his
you gotta
presence.
respect his office.
He should respect his office, yeah.
Hey, Dan?
Yeah, well, here's the thing, we don't know what that individual's plans are, and I think a friendly, professional request is probably a lot better than a demand.
Let's vote on the amendment.
Okay, there's been a call to vote on the amendment.
Bob won.
Bob wants to speak.
Dan?
Yeah.
Dan?
Yes, Bob?
Well, the building inspector reports to the town manager, correct?
Yes.
Then let's just ask the town manager to ask him to be at that meeting, tell him to be at that meeting. I mean, well, I don't think we have to do anything else.
Well, I think, Bob, to emphasize the board's point, we want to put that in writing. We are requesting you to be there, as Bob Collins said. I think that would go a lot further with him and respecting his office towards getting in there with possible contributions. Again, I ask for a vote on the amendment, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Vote on the amendment. All in favor of the amendment to the motion? Aye.
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 Okay. Now we'll vote on the motion as amended.
Right.
Which includes a request to
Right.
attend the meeting.
Correct.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. So there will be a formal request from the select board and the zoning enforcement officer to attend the planning board meeting.
Dan, can we ask the town manager to convey our wishes in writing?
Absolutely.
Tomorrow is Tuesday, so it's only less than 48 hours away. Can you do that, Tom?
Yeah.
Reflect the
Yeah,
position of the board?
I took that as,
Thank you.
All right, I will take several more audience members who have not spoken yet, and in the back, I haven't heard from this gentleman back here yet, and we'll get to you, Mr.
Thank you,
Griffin.
sir. Dave, 140 Raymond Drive. I defer, I'm not going to say anything more than what's been said, but my wife Lisa can bring some clarification on this conversation around the zoning board officer and his current capability.
Sure.
In regards to 10560. No?
Yeah, currently he doesn't have any authority over what's going on back there, as he's explained to us, because there's a cease and desist, and then the Board of Health was issuing a cease and desist, I think, also today. He said he now no longer has any power to enforce anything because there is no permit to enforce.
I see.
Because the permit is under a cease and desist. So now the authority has gone to the Board of Health.
Board of Health.
So the Board of Health can enforce sanctions.
The Board of Health could
So that's
order
where it is, yeah.
an immediate remediation action, I'm sure, if there was enough, certainly with the interest here. We work on the schedules of board meetings. I don't know when the Board of Health regular meeting is, if it's coming up soon.
When can tell you?
They were gonna order the, cease and desist was supposed to probably go out today. They were hoping it was gonna go out today, and that was to immediately cease the dust leaving the property line. So now it's the Board of Health that has the authority, and then there'll be a 2-week appeal period, and then after that, they can start fining, do a daily fine.
Okay.
But, so now the authority has gone over to the Board of Health because zoning can't help right now because they're technically.
That parcel's not.
Can I ask you, you said there's a 2-week appeal period?
There's supposed to be a 2-week appeal period.
So who do you appeal to?
I don't know, it'd be, Enrico would be appealing to the town, you know. if-
Yeah, but I'm just trying to be more specific. I think their next stop would be court. I don't know, you can't appeal to the board of
Just
selectmen.
Board of Appeals, zoning Board of Appeals.
I just don't want you to make Brian Duval come to the meeting if he doesn't have any authority right now. to do
Yeah, well, he
anything.
can be there to answer questions and he can tell you that.
Yeah, I think it would be okay still for his attendance and to be able to explain to people either who are not in attendance tonight, who may attend then, as well as the planning board to update them. But thank you so much for that clarification.
Good.
I would certainly be happy to discuss action from the board to, request, urgent action by the Board of Health on this matter, on the matter of this particular parcel and remediating the situation, if that'll help, I don't know.
Well,
When's their next meeting?
Chairman, the Board of Appeals is meeting Wednesday night. Now, these issues are bound to come up.
The planning board is.
Yeah, and I have my letter from the select board to read, from all of us and the town manager. I can add an addendum that we respect and wish the Board of Health would act expeditiously.
Yes,
Okay? That'd be good.
absolutely.
No,
Sounds like there is movement.
You know, anything besides just, again, I don't know where it came from, this change of zoning, that's all that's on the agenda. And I think this change of zoning came with a well wish that you could change the zoning and into residential and make this business non-compliant or non-locatable in a business area. But it already is residential, right?
Yeah,
You agree with that?
Yes.
You were on the planning board.
sure is.
Bob, you guys all know that, right?
It is
So
R1.
any zoning change, what are you gonna do? Change it to industrial? No, of course not. So any kind of a zoning change is just not worth talking about here, because it already is. The whole parcel is R1. That's R1 zoning with, I think, I don't
Special
know.
permit required.
Yep.
For the use.
Yep.
Okay, I'll take a couple more comments on this item from interested audience members, but then we'll have to close this item out.
And I might be able to help articulate, maybe clarify something. I know a lot of the frustration is, why can't we do something now? And I think what you'll hear from the zoning enforcement officer is, he's reached the limit of what he can do by issuing a cease and desist order. What we're waiting for now is the implementation plan, so that he can enforce the implementation plan. And obviously, we're going to review that plan ourselves and make sure it's good. We don't want to take too much time in doing that, obviously, because everything adds to the increased cumulative burden. So that's one thing. And the Board of Health did also issue the cease and desist order. The health agent and the town planner and I did meet with representatives of Berkshire Concrete, and I believe they do have a heightened awareness of the problem. They've gone and looked at it, they understand it, they see what's going on, even when it's not operating, and they know they have to come up with a strong implementation plan. So I can just say, that's the state of my knowledge at this point, but that's what we're waiting for, is the implementation plan. Then we have to see if it's any good, and we have to hold them to it when it's implemented. So that's my understanding of where we are.
I think next time we should lead with that.
Yeah, that'd be good information to have at the front of the conversation. It's important to point out, we're talking about private property, and there are very good reasons why a town would be very careful. It's how they approach it, and there's a good reason for that. So I'll take a few more comments, and I know there was someone on Zoom as well who had a comment, and we're going to close this out. Mr. Griffin.
Just a quick one, I think. This dialogue confuses me a little bit, in as much as you initiated a zoning, basically, it's not a zoning change, but you authorized, you gave them the ability to mine this property, which was zoned R1, right?
Yes.
And agricultural. Given that, recognizing how complicated it is to deal with that source, saying, I can't imagine that the town, in its infinite wisdom and knowledge that the people have about a mining type of activity,
And whether you want to believe it or not, that's strip mining. That's what they're doing now. There is no remediation attempt at all from one shovel to the next shovel. You do this work, you remediate it, so that it's not sitting bare, open to the winds, so that these particles can move throughout the town. I cannot fathom why they would have a just open book to just keep strip mining this site from one area to the next. And I've had conversations with some pretty talented engineering firms, and they all have said the same thing. You work it, you remediate it. You work it, you remediate it. To be left alone as it is now, and I think there's a lot of people here who would acknowledge that it has not been touched after they put a shovel through it. Not been touched. That from a town perspective is borderline irresponsible. And Len and I have had conversations with the building inspector about just that. And he raises up his arms and says, not my job. Well, who the hell do we go to get answers to that problem? Because I don't think we'd have this problem as bad as it is right now if they in fact followed some routine to avoid a situation where all of this product is just left wide open and the wind's accessible to it. And the neighborhoods are getting hit by it.
Thank you.
Mr. Sheridan, that is exactly the kind of comment that the planning board needs to hear in order to refine their order of conditions so that it can be more specific. Because I think one of the problems we're dealing with is it's overly broad. And that is a very specific condition that the planning board could put into an order of conditions that would help.
Just a quick, I want to respond to that, if I may, just quickly.
Okay.
You're right.
Very quick, please.
You're right. And if you speak to the zoning enforcement officer, it's not his job. That's what, did he say that? Not his job.
The planning board, though. It's the planning board. I imagine you must have gone to their recent, or their last month's meeting.
Haven't missed one.
Perfect. Don't miss this one.
We won't.
Okay. Sir.
Pete Person, 34th Street, Dalton. I've been to almost, I think, every meeting regarding this issue. And we have been ping-ponged from this board to this board to this board to this board. Oh, we can't handle that. That's not in our purview. You know, that's not what we do. You know, and at some point, everybody's going to have to get together, or this is going to get ugly, because nobody wants to put up with this. I'm one of the two individuals that's been coughing for two years solid, and they can't tell me what's wrong with me. I'm going again to the pulmonologist. Okay, so I'm starting to get PO. I know Lynn dealt with lung cancer, and God help the little kids that are walking around. At some point, people are going to get really PO'd and say, I've had enough, okay? And we don't want to get to that point. We really don't, okay? But right now, we have to go to the planning board because they have the authority. And then, no, the Board of Health has the authority. So just who the hell does have the authority? I mean, really. You know, at some point, everybody's going to have to get together. It can't be just, oh, you guys are going to have to wait for this, you're going to have to wait for that. You know, because we're just getting bounced around from meeting to meeting to meeting. And I'm not, you know, I don't mean to raise my voice with you guys. I know you're not, you know, I know you mean well, but at some point, you just get tired of getting bounced around. That's it for me. Thank you.
Time to adjourn this day.
Okay, I'll take, there was someone with their hand up on Zoom. So,
Joe Giver.
Yeah, hi, Mr. Chair. So just for the group, my understanding is the select board has absolutely no authority on this issue. Planning board does. If the residents don't like the planning board decision, they have a very short timeline to file with the judicial court, a very short timeline to appeal it to the courts. So I think whoever is aggrieved with this matter should probably take a look at the legal pathway and keep an eye on that timeline. You missed the time they filed the report, and you're out of luck. If you don't like the planning board decision, select board has absolutely no authority in this matter.
Thank you, Mr. Diver.
Yeah.
And I have certainly clarified that, and I am, in the interest of concern for residents in the community, we have certainly entertained comments and dialogue here. And I think I'm doing the best I can to at least create that space for people, but at the end of the day, Joe is absolutely correct, Mr. Diver is correct, and I have repeated the same. There's a meeting on Wednesday for the planning board. Please attend that meeting. Everyone in this audience who is concerned with the matter, that is absolutely the next place to take this. Obviously, the Board of Health is involved with that parcel as well. So thank you all very much. I'm going to close this agenda item. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan.
Okay, next up is item number 11, Town Manager Screening Committee formation.
Mr. Chairman,
Okay.
I move that the Town Manager Screening Committee be established and the chairman of the select board be instructed to consult members of the board and the public on membership. A slate of 5 members to be submitted by 3/24 for ratification by the full board.
Second.
Okay, motion has been made and seconded on this item. Can I see a copy of the motion?
Yeah, yeah, it's just scribbled out. Maybe I do like botch it up.
Board and membership. Slate of, as I said, 5 to be submitted by 3/24. Okay. Motion has been made and seconded. Discussion.
Mr. Chair, are you going to take comments from the audience who requested?
I can certainly take comments on this item, but I do have a motion that has been made and seconded.
So does this, Mr. Chair,
We're going to talk amongst the board first.
just to, I didn't quite catch the entire resolution of the motions. Would you mind repeating it, please?
So this was Mr. Boyle making the motion. I move that a town manager screening committee be established, and the chairman be instructed to consult members of the board and the public on membership. A slate of 5 candidates to be submitted by 3/24/25 for ratification by the full board.
Mr. Chair, common courtesy to hear from the residents prior to that vote.
Yes, we'll discuss amongst the board, and I'll entertain comments from the audience as well.
I would like to see that all of the select board members have a say in the pick of those people. And that those people that want to be part of that committee should send a letter in their experience to the town and town manager and to the select board chair, that to be shared with us select board members, and that all of us discuss who we think are the best candidates for that 5-member panel.
Okay. It's important to point out that the town manager screening committee, per se, is going to be reviewing resumes for prospective town manager candidates and narrowing those resumes down to a selection of 3 candidates to put forward to the select board. They will not be interviewing candidates, is my understanding.
Correct, but you could pick that from somebody's, you know, you could definitely see from somebody's resume or, you know, input.
That's why he said that the chairman of the select board should consult with anybody on the
Who's
board
interested.
or in the public who has submitted an interest in being on the committee. And he comes up with our various suggestions and presents a slate of 5 for to bring in to be ratified at a next scheduled select board meeting.
Okay? Town manager, and then I'll take some comments from the audience. And Mark has a comment as well.
Yes, the committee could take other actions than simply reviewing resumes, depending on what it receives. I think you'd want to leave some flexibility there to narrow the field down to 3, unless you made a motion to restrict the committee to that activity alone.
I think we're just trying to form a committee now and get started. It would be incumbent upon yourself to give a charge to the committee.
And
We vote on it.
Yeah, I would hope, yeah.
Okay. All right, thanks for the clarification, and I'll entertain some comments. I know we're in a motion with the discussion portion, but out of respect for the audience members who wanted to speak on the item, a motion was made, right at the beginning of this agenda item, so I'll take some comments if anyone wants to speak.
Do you have any folks that have submitted their interest to the select board to be participants on the committee? Do you have that at all?
Yes. We have a list of 9.
Okay.
For me, I think we gotta take it a step even further back. And I do think it's worth looking into hiring a recruitment firm to get some candidates out here. I do think that we should look at that. And then we can work on getting the committee based on what we receive from a recruitment firm. And then narrow it down to that committee. But I think we need to just take a step further back and just, instead of putting a whole wanted ad on Indeed or something, I think we need to get a recruitment committee, or a recruitment firm in here for the money to pay for them to go out there and recruit people to put for this job.
Well, Mark, I think we all agree that time is a limitation here. We would hopefully be able to choose someone and have them up and running in a training session by the middle of June. What you're saying is absolutely right. We probably do need some professional help. But that, we should form the committee, and that should be up to the town manager to charge the committee with the type of resolution for bringing this scope of the candidates down to 3 that is necessary. I think that's where it would come in, the professional advice. Not before the committee's formulated.
If you were to move towards having a professional search done, you might want to consider hiring an interim town administrator or manager until a permanent one could be hired, and you could have the interim town manager, you could either have that person be able to apply for the permanent position or not, depending on who it was. But that process would take longer, and you would want someone in place to smooth things out in the interim.
We would definitely need an interim in that scenario, I believe.
Yeah.
Maybe
That's
same-
what we're trying to avoid.
Maybe that same research committee looking for can help with that process too. And then I just have a question, John, why are you saying 3 members? 3 members? You keep using 3 members, 3 committee
You
members?
bring it down, to bring
Candidates.
bring
Candidates?
it down to 3, that's state law.
It's 5. Our bylaws are 5. 5. The bylaw A802, section 5, paragraph 3 states that the select board shall appoint a 5-member screening committee to assist the board
Yeah.
by screening all applicants for the position of the town manager. And the intent of this passage is that the entire select board consider a complete list of residents interested in being part of the committee.
You know,
You think you're talking about 2 different things.
Yeah,
5-member committee, 3 resumes to forward, 3 final candidates to forward. to
Oh,
the
we're
select
only
board.
gonna accept 3, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, only 3.
I'm sorry, Bob, that wasn't in there, the number that in a sense, the screening committee boils it down to 3 candidates.
Okay.
Then the board
Bring the
interviews.
3 best forward.
Yes.
Okay, I didn't get that from that.
His motion is for a slate of 5 to be submitted.
Okay.
5 members.
That's why I just said 5 and then he said 3, so I
I
was
understand.
just.
Okay.
All right.
We have a hand raised on Zoom. We also have a hand raised in the audience. I'm not sure who had their hand raised first. Maybe Mr. Diver may have, and then we'll get to the audience member after.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. Hey, Joe Digger, Audio Drive. Yeah, I echo what Dr. Irwin mentioned at the beginning, what Mark mentioned a moment ago, is that definitely should look at an external firm. You've got some big decisions coming up, not only the police station, but if there's consideration to use the land behind the senior center, you also have flood mitigation for another $5 million. You have a good 5-year strategy looking ahead. And you really need a selection committee. If you go selection committee, I don't know any resident in town that has recruitment experience from municipal, understand the real specifics around grant funding. And so I think you have to look the next 5-10 years down the road as the good, strong town manager that we need for some critical items here, and making that investment and slowing it down a little bit to pick the right candidates, the right thing to do. The selection committee members that were noted in the iBerkshire's article, with all due respect, I didn't see a single one that has experience recruit a municipal executive or experience in public grant writing, which are critical leadership skills required for the town manager. Thank you. Thank you, Dan.
Well,
Thank you, Mr.
I'll
Dillon.
just respond to that. The last selection committee, we did exactly what we're doing now. And one of the members that was on it, John Kelly, who's been graciously going to devote his time to this one, hopefully, has vast experience in this type of process. And none of this was mentioned extremely ago, 4 years ago. And now, when Joe was in charge, you didn't mention any of this, Joe, any of these procedures. Now you do.
You don't have to address him directly.
Okay.
It was during COVID, and I think it was a different time, and there was less engagement overall. It's nice to see the public so engaged in this matter.
Dave, you 140 Urban Drive. I think I'm getting a better understanding of the process you've laid out. I know in hiring a superintendent in a neighboring district, we went through a very similar process, and the outside firm was actually very helpful in creating the initial committee to vet the applicants.
Okay.
The whole idea of vetting, I agree, is tremendously important. I think it has to be a very diverse group of people, but also people that's knowledgeable of town government. But certainly having a finalist of 3 to the select board, my question would be, trying to go back to the committees I've been on, and I would say within the vetting committee, the group, I only remember maybe 1 school committee person on that group, because the 3 were vetted, well, the 3 finalists were created, and then of course all the select board was able to decide who the finalist was going to be. But my question would be is how many select board members of those 5 would be part of that vetting committee? Because my thought is 1.
Right, maybe
I
0.
don't know.
Maybe even 0.
Maybe even 0.
You mean the screening committee?
Yes.
No selectmen.
Probably
committee.
not
Okay.
selectmen, yeah.
Yeah,
Select
prohibited
board
from
members.
seeing that, because we're gonna be in the final, we make the final decision.
Right.
After, the screening committee boils it down to 3.
Right. So when I think of the 5 kind of surprised me when I think of the last committee I was on for superintendent. There was a lot of people in the room, but there were parents, there were teachers, there were administrators, there was, there was a wide spectrum to understand the problems facing schools, so that when those 3 finalists were sent, we felt very strongly that any of those people could do the job for us. But it was ultimately the school committee, the select board. That would.
Dave, I was on the select board last time, 4 years ago, when we got the final 3. And all 3 of them were qualified. No doubt, when you get after 50 or 60 interviews or resumes, you get down to 3, and then usually, flip a coin or something, or it's based on wanting to move to the community or something of that nature. And somebody brought up a real excellent point earlier in the evening, I forgot who it was, that there's a provision that requires the town manager to be a resident of the town. Now that right there could put the damper on a lot of good resumes. And I don't know how we go about adjudicating that if the board's aligned to do something like that, but it's definitely worth looking into. I mean,
You have to do by law change.
yeah,
Bob, yes.
I believe that's in the town manager's taxes.
yeah, I was told that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Bob, how can we, it would require a town meeting
Go
action?
to a town vote, they would have to go to a town vote to get it off, I would support that.
Yeah,
I would
They'd
too.
have to go to a town vote.
Tom, is it too late to put a warrant article in?
No.
It is not. We have the town warrant coming up.
We'll take it up warrants later on, perhaps.
Take it up under the warrant.
Yeah, there we
Agenda
go.
item, absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you, Bob.
Yeah, put it on the warrant and, honestly, let the people decide. I'll support it.
Here.
What's the warrant article on?
It would be to remove
Waiving
residency
the
requirement.
residency requirement. Yeah. Was you guys, yeah. But I also heard the town manager that,
Mr. Hall and then Mr. Pugh.
Yeah, Richard Hall, 164 Green Ridge. Actually, that was the exact point I was bringing up.
Okay.
hey,
Wonderful,
thank you.
nice to hear an echo on that. And one more comment, and I'll make a few more, and then we do have a motion we need to vote on after.
I'm good.
Okay.
I do want to run back what I said. I support this with the committee. However, I think for the next meeting, we need to discuss about hiring an outside firm for recruitment. I think that should be a priority. I think it's going to bring in better quality candidates. We need to bring that up at the next meeting.
One thing that I would suggest is after we're done with this vote, what's stopping us from making a motion to, a member making a motion to put out an RFP for a firm to help with this search?
Yeah.
Why do we have to wait till the 24th?
The agenda.
Yeah, get us started.
Well, it's with the town manager screening committee formation. We don't have anything about
Well, it's.
unless we do it within 48 hours. We can do it during that part,
It
of course.
it would take me some time to formulate that, so I think next week.
Next week, sounds good,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. But in the meantime, you could be looking around at potential firms that are engaged in this type of activities.
The usual ones are fairly well known.
Yeah.
For petitions.
Get the names.
Yeah. Okay, so we do have a motion on the floor here, and I'll read it one more time, just for the benefit of the public.
Can you read it by scribbling?
I can. Mr. Boyle moved that a town manager screening committee be established, and the chairman of the select board be instructed to consult members of the select board and the public on membership of this committee. A slate of 5 committee members to be submitted to the select board by March 25th, 2025, 24th, 2025 for ratification by the full board. That is the motion. And been seconded by Mr. Stroud. I have no problem with establishing this committee, but I feel like after hearing the comments tonight, potentially engaging the services of an outside consulting firm to help the town find the next town manager is definitely a sound investment, I believe. And taking the other comments into consideration, also I'd like to discuss the residency requirement in the warrant.
Vote on this first, then talk about that stuff.
Yep, I'm just saying
Yeah.
my final comments, and then I also want to look at the salary. I think the comments about salary are also very important.
Oh, this is part of the discussion on motion, okay.
Yep. Okay, all that being said, all in favor?
All right.
Aye. None opposed? Bob?
However, I think it was, yeah.
Bob, were you and I?
Bob, were you a yes?
Yes, I am,
Okay,
yes.
motion carries.
Approximately what would the ballpark price tag be for hiring a consultant?
$15,000.
Yeah. And Tom, where would we access those funds?
Probably have to be a transfer from the reserve fund. at this
Okay.
point.
Yeah, so easily done. Well, not easily.
They
but-
have
Okay,
those.
it's available, okay. Because we don't want to get hung up by going to a special town meeting for appropriation. All right,
Okay.
thanks, Tom.
All right, next up, item number 6, fiscal year 26 budget planning and presentations. Mr. Hutchison.
Yeah, thank you. I'd like to bring up the town accountant for 2 budgets, the town accountant's budget and the financial audit budget.
Okay.
You should have those in your packets.
Hi, Sandy.
Hello.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, thanks for your patience.
Sure. So do you have my budget in front of
I
you?
do. Accountant?
Yeah. And I'm not sure how you want me to proceed, except for maybe, have you noticed that I reduced a salary line item? My assistant thought that maybe she would like to entertain 32 hours, and we decided to give it a try during this fiscal year. And she's okay and doing very well with a 24-hour time frame. So she does all the accounts payable. She helps me with a lot of spreadsheets already. Sometimes I do have trouble keeping her busy. So I thought that I would give her 10 weeks of an extra 8-hour to 32 hours a week and see how that works out this year. So I way over budgeted, I think, last year for that.
Sandy, how many hours was she working this?
24.
24, and you
Yeah.
raised it to 32.
I'm giving her an option of 10 weeks to have 32 hours. So an extra 8 hours a week for 10 weeks during the year.
And that's reflected in the revised amount.
Correct.
For 1,766.
Yeah. So that's the reduction in that budget.
Yeah.
I kind of reduced some other things. For instance, due to other reasons, I've not taken some of the professional technical training. I reduced that a little bit. I decreased office supplies because we mostly get all of our office supplies from the central office supply department. We have some stamps that we use when we stamp in the invoicing that we get. And I usually pay for those, and it's not more than $100. There's two, one for me, one for my assistant. And that's basically where I reduced. So the biggest one was I had, what was it, 4,254 in the salary, and reduced it to 1,766, which I think, I think if she wants to work the extra day, there could be things for her to do. But I'm thinking she's finding she's not, needing it at this point to accomplish the job as her position is read. So.
Okay. So the total budget for the benefit of the audience members is $118,275 for the accountant department, town accountant department, and that's just a small 1.33%, $1,500 increase over the same period prior year. That would be a TA from me.
Wait, you gotta put the number in.
He did.
I did. 118,275.
Okay, okay. Thank you, Sandy.
Thank you so much, Sandy, on that one. Okay.
I have one more budget, the town audit.
Audit year, huh?
In 26, we'll audit 25.
Yes.
In 25, we still have a federal single audit, which really came about for the very first time in FY '23. Had to do with the money we got for ARPA, and we were the lead town for a CDBG grant, which was $1.2 million. So I listed the expenditures for the 3 years, including what is right now for FY '25. I'm not sure we will need a federal audit in '26, but I hesitate to not budget for it in case. And if we have a town meeting before tax rate set and we're not going to have one, we certainly can take that off before the tax rate gets set. So I did also list 4 federal grants we have and have had in the last 4, 5, 6 years that we've been doing this federal single audit.
Okay.
So this is the first time our town audit budget has increased. Since 2019, we were at $16,000. And mind you, we only get audited every 2 years. And our auditors are okay with that. The information that I provide them give them a really good, easy way to, point out and figure out what we're doing. But he did he increased it by $3,000 due to the Government Accounting Standards Board's requirements in financial reporting, additional financial reporting for our auditors, so.
So it's up to 19,000?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
Sandy, did this go out to bid, the accounting services?
I don't think they have to. And we've been using the same auditors since I've been here, and I think the same auditors were used before I was here, so.
Okay. So this is the town audit budget. Total budgeted amount is $22,500. That's a $19,000 increase over the prior year because it includes our biannual rather, audit of town financial records. So it adds $19,000 to the budget so we can audit fiscal year 2025.
Right.
Yeah. TA for me.
Yep, very good.
Thank you so much, Sandy.
You're welcome.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And next, oh, yes.
Hi, Don.
We actually had the collector down next. And were you also doing postage?
Yes,
And just those two?
yes.
Yeah, okay, so maybe we can let Joe go do his 2 items.
Okay. All right.
It's,
Hello, Joe.
Hello.
collector and, oh,
All right.
So ours is actually going down slightly this year for the collectors, as myself and the assistant both have lower starting salaries than the previous collector and assistant were at. Most of the other items stayed about the same or were slightly reduced, except for the software annual support and web hosting. But everything else, for the most part, either stayed the same or was reduced slightly.
Very good. This is the FY26 collector budget. Total budget $123,303, and that's a decrease of around $1,000, 0.87% from the previous fiscal year. Any other questions from the board?
I've got one question.
Yep.
I've been in your office, we've talked a few times. You have said that your software is old school and antiquated. And I see that this is a software annual support and web hosting. Is that keeping the outdated and antiquated software?
Yeah, so
not
that's
new, right?
that's for our current software that we have.
Okay. Do you happen to know what the new up-to-date 21st century software would cost the town?
Off the top of my head, I do not
No.
have that answer. It would depend on different things that you can add onto it because they have different features for other departments or other various add-ons.
All right, maybe something to look at for another year.
And that's fiscal year.
Yep.
And I understand, you started recently as well, right?
Yep.
So I would imagine, you're still learning the ins and outs of the position and would certainly appreciate some more time to do that. But in light of planning for next year, I think we'd all certainly like to see some development on that front.
After I saw what they had to go
Yep.
through this last 3 weeks, I was just dumbfounded.
Okay.
They spent, just out of curiosity, have you guys ever seen the folding process in the collector's office for the rest of the select board members?
No.
I walked in there the other day and they had piles of paper, 5 or 6 stacks across the counter, one on his desk, one on his assistant's desk, and there they are, folding paper this way, that way, putting it in a pile, packing them all up. How many hours did we have in, Joe, for 2 people?
19. Well, 19 with 2.5 people because my mom did come in.
His mother came in because there was so much, but the point is that they have basically 2 people for, it's 40 man hours of just folding paper, which is, I just find that very like old school, and there is software and equipment that can help them with that process.
Okay. Fair enough. Once again, total budget, $123,303 for the town collector. That's a TA for me.
Yep. Good.
Okay.
So then for the postage, that all remains the same from the previous year.
Joe, didn't the postage rates go up?
They went up last year, there was an increase in last year's budget for fiscal '25.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
they
okay.
are still at the same for the
Great.
currently. Hopefully they don't go up again anytime soon, but
We don't anticipate they'll go up in 2026.
not that I've seen. I checked in with the postage service that we use, and they don't have any updates on there.
Okay. Fair enough. So the total budget is $20,300. It's level funded from the previous year for postage for the collector's office. TA.
Yep.
Yes.
Could we ask a question on that?
Certainly.
May I ask a question?
Yeah, I'll entertain that, yes.
Okay, changing this side drive. Now remember, this past year, we had a big expense of postage because of the national election.
Yep.
We're not gonna have that this year, so is there some way they could cut that down, or do you wanna just keep it as is?
That's a very good point. Is that something that you guys could look at and
This
come
goes,
back?
this goes to the finance committee next, so I'm sure they could look at it.
I think the appropriate channel would be, we TA'd up to this amount. If it can be trimmed, in light of that comment, the town manager will look at that. Mr. D'Onofrio can look at that, and then when it goes to the finance committee, I think that they could make a reduction if it's warranted. But that's a great comment. Thank you so much. Well, thank you very much, Joe. Take care. All right.
Has to be, it's a good point, because we
Yeah,
had
you-
5 elections this year.
Hi, Don.
This is you only got one.
Okay, we're gonna start with 145.
Okay.
This is the treasurer's budget. The salaries are explanatory, and the expenses are down a little due to the fact that I do not have to have an OPEB actuarial study this coming fiscal year. We did pick up some of that, though, with the fact that I need to budget for a green light letter. But we're still down a little in the expenses.
Okay.
Green light one.
Green light letter. So it says $4,500 budgeted for preliminary legal opinion from bond counsel, green light letter for authorizations over $500,000. Maybe you could explain that a little bit.
Well, there's been some talk about possibly purchasing a sewer vac truck. It's over $500,000, and there's been some talk about some town hall renovations, heating and ventilating and things. $1 million possibly, so I have to budget for a green light letter based on that.
Got it. That makes sense. Yep. Okay, so the total budget for the treasurer presented is $135,599. That is a 1.77% increase, $2,363 over the previous fiscal year, with expenses down and salaries up per our contractual, or at least our wage scale matrix increases. That's a TA for me.
TA.
Yep.
Okay.
159, it's our tax title foreclosure. I've trimmed that a little based on, we only have one property that's in the process of foreclosure, and it's taking an extra long time. It's a resident that was deceased.
Sorry, this one's buried. It's not in order. There it is. Okay. Tax title foreclosure for $2,000. That's down $500 from the previous fiscal year. Any questions on that? TA for me.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
Next one is 710, maturing debt and interest.
Yep.
Everyone has it.
Mm-hmm.
These are scheduled loan payments, except for the last entry in each grouping of principal and interest. The highway garage roof is going to be done before the end of the fiscal year, so I'm budgeting for those payments.
Okay.
So the budget's down.
What's our bond rating now?
We're still double A.
Double A? Great. Thank you.
So this is maturing debt and interest. This is payment on the town's debt in the amount of $321,855 for fiscal year 2026. That's a decrease of 32,009% over the previous fiscal year. TA for me.
Just a quick question. Do we have any bond indebtedness issues that may expire in the next couple of years?
Yeah.
Probably on this chart.
So every year, some drop off. One drops off. 1 year's worth of borrowing.
Any big ones dropped off?
Well, I mean, the one that just dropped off was a $45,000 principal payment. So
Wow.
the heavy-duty dump truck. So
Yep.
that's decent.
Yep. Good.
So you can see what's fallen off because it was budgeted the prior fiscal year and then it's zero in this year, so it's done.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you, Don.
Thank you very much. Any, is that TA for everyone else?
Yep.
The next one is 710 debt excluded. So this is our Dalton Division Road Engineering. These are loan payments, except for the last entry is what I will be borrowing for this June. Fuss & O'Neill has given us a projected amount of $136,200. So I budgeted for that to be borrowed.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Maturing debt and interest account, $85,433. It's the budgeted expenditure. That's an increase of $33,546 for the previous fiscal year due to the addition of Dalton Division Road Engineering debt that will be coming online next year. TA.
Next budget is 710 sewers and drains.
Okay.
No new loan payments on this, just our ones that we already have in place.
Great.
Okay, total budget for maturing debt and interest in sewers and drains is $37,905. It's a decrease of $976 from the previous fiscal year. TA.
Next one is 911 retirement. I already have the bill for this, so that is what it is.
So this is the retirement account. Budget is $690,200. That's an increase of $53,450. And that we don't really have any control over that. So,
That's correct.
TA.
Next account is 913 unemployment.
Sorry, that some of them are a little out of order here for us. Apologies. Okay.
Unemployment, 913, right?
Yes.
Okay. Any comments?
No, I've dropped this a little, but we do have, we may have, I've had some back and forth with our unemployment services through Maya that I've had to answer some questionnaires, so there may be someone drawing off that.
I see. Okay. This is the unemployment account. Budgeted amount of $6,500. That's a decrease of $1,000 from the previous fiscal year. TA.
Next one is 914 group health and dental.
Okay.
So this one's gone up a lot,
Yeah.
out of my control. I have, for July 1st, we are adding a 5th plan. It's a little bit cheaper. It will be cheaper for the town. It will be cheaper for the employee. No guarantee anybody will jump on, but it's going to mirror the Health New England, the HMO Blue New England, sorry, the HMO Blue New England plan, but with a deductible. And then maybe some people would like to take advantage of that.
Mm.
I bet you didn't plan for that increase.
No, last year was enough, 10%, so.
Okay, so there's a large increase this year. The requested budget amount is $1,136,168. That's a $265,529 increase for the previous fiscal year. It's 30.5%. Very difficult to control this expense, other than what the town contributes to the employees' plans, which is a percentage of the premium. Right now, the town contributes 72.5% of the employees' premiums.
Mr. Chair, I'll just note that this is based on a 3-year look back. We're in the middle of a period where we had a couple of substantial claims, so this cost will remain high next year. The following year, without any more substantial claims, it should come down, but not for a couple of years.
I see.
TA?
Yeah, I think it's up to, certainly be up to the voters to, consider and vote on the budget at town meeting.
I'll also note that we are required by law to offer plans that are affordable.
Mm-hmm.
And we are just barely scraping by with that, with what we're asking for. So we're doing what we can with what we have.
Absolutely.
Okay.
That was a TA?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think we have any choice, right?
No.
915 group life insurance.
Which one was that, Don?
915 group life. It's down a little. The price stayed the same this year. I think it's down a little because the fire district is reimbursing for a couple more people than they did last year.
Okay.
So it's caused a little bit of a decrease, not much, but.
All right. So group life insurance, FY26 budget request $18,288. That's a $22 decrease in the previous year. TA for me.
Next one is 916 Medicare.
Any comments, Don? Or
No, you know what, I 9%ed last year's because some of the unions are getting a 9% wage increase. And
I see.
Medicare's based on
Understood.
the payroll. And there's a lot of unknowns, outside detail, overtime
Sure.
for the highway police. You have no way to predict that.
Okay.
Put the highest number there.
Yeah, yeah,
Keep it.
I did, yep.
So you baked in a 9% increase to account for wage and salary increases townwide. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so this is the Medicare town share. It's 1.45% of wages. Total budget, $58,900. That's an increase of $4,900 from the previous fiscal year, 9% increase.
TA.
TA.
Next one is 919, employee fringe benefits. This one is up. I've had a couple of discussions that there may be some possible retirements in the coming year. So I've had to plan for that.
Mm-hmm. And that affects sick and vacation time that's
Yeah.
being paid out.
Yep, we offer sick buyback for bank sick time and the vacation payout if you have it left when you're leaving.
Mm-hmm. And then we do get the occasional request for employees to
So
get a
I-
vacation payout as well.
Yep, at the end of the year, yep.
Yeah.
And then if people leave during the year, just if they found another job or something, they get that paid out as well, so.
Okay. This is employee fringe benefits, sick leave, vacation payouts, and a few other smaller expenses. Total budget of $71,294. That's an increase of $20,000 or 38.99% from prior fiscal year due to anticipated potential retirements, sick buyback, and vacation payouts. TA.
941, judgments and claims. So this is good news. I took this budget and halved it. I have not had something like this come about since FY19, so I said that I would try and reduce it, so.
Okay. Judgments and claims. It's an account for small claims not covered by insurance. Budget is $1,500. That's a 50% or $1,500 decrease from the prior fiscal year due to lack of use in the account. Historical use. TA for me.
Yep. Sounds good.
Next one is 945, town insurances. So I tried to keep this level funded where I could, based on it didn't come in as much as they had predicted last year, or we got more dividends and credits than expected. So I did have to raise the storage tank liability because it went up a lot last year. I hadn't budgeted enough for that. So I had to go up with that, and our bonds, we needed to have more in that account as well this year. And the police accident, I was able to cut a little tiny bit off of that based on last year's premium as well.
Okay.
I did lower our insurance deductibles as well. We didn't use as many. I think the fact that the highway, although I had a sewer claim this week, but I think the fact that the highway's been going out and doing what they're doing has helped with the sewer claims, so.
Okay. This is the town insurances budget. Total budget of $282,834. That's a $434 increase over prior fiscal year. Good work on micromanaging that.
Yeah.
TA from me.
Yep.
That's it.
All right, Don.
Don,
Thank you
thank
so
you.
much, and have a good rest of your night. Okay. Next up for budgets.
We do not have a vocational education budget yet.
Okay.
Trying to get numbers, figures from the schools.
Okay.
Now, my memory serves me correct. Do students have until April 1st to submit their interest in taking on a vocational school education?
Yeah, I believe that's,
So that always holds us up.
yes,
Basically, it ends up being an estimate.
yes. And it's still an estimate because we don't know until September.
Right.
But-
How many are actually gonna follow through?
Right. Still, we're starting to work with what we have, and we should be ready soon.
You go first, right around the corner.
For 123, the town manager budget. I've reduced the expenses somewhat, including taking away a couple of the electronic subscriptions we have because we really haven't been using them, especially LexisNexis, very expensive and we don't really need it. The salary levels were what was more or less normally planned. And I just wanted to present a kind of, this is what would normally be happening scenario. There's some talk of increasing the salaries perhaps, so that could either be part of this discussion or part of a discussion after we see who gets hired, and then that would be a matter for either a reserve fund transfer or a special town meeting. But it might be the time to hedge your bets and add some money to that line item if you wanted to.
I was thinking about that after the conversation regarding town manager committee, screening committee, and some of the comments from the audience and the select board members. I could certainly support an increase in that to at least give us the potential to negotiate and bring in the right candidate. And if it does take a higher salary to do that, then I think the select board would appreciate having that written into the budget at least. Give us that ability. Other members of the board?
I actually don't agree with that strategy. I think we ought to, potentially find the right candidate that we all agree on, the select board. And as last time, 4 years ago, the board appointed a select subcommittee to negotiate the town manager's salary.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, I think it worked out well. I think you just leave the salary alone and.
As far as negotiations also.
Absolutely.
Put a number out there.
Yeah, you're tipping your hand, first of all.
And obviously, I do truly believe we're going to increase the salary, but I just think that we'll negotiate with that part at that point and go from there. I think, I don't want to put a number on it at this point, as far as it hurts us as far as negotiation.
Okay.
But aren't we gonna aren't we going to say we're gonna increase the search committee and it's gonna be a range, right? $135,000 to $155,000.
But I'm just saying, if we put a number out here right now, say 150.
Yeah.
We're already tipping our hand.
We're committed.
That we'll pay 150.
Yeah. So
Oh, yeah, we can certainly get Bill's comment in a moment. He's in the queue. Now, I just want to, you get what you pay for sure, and I think, obviously, the lower that is, the less competitive we'll be, so. So there's that too, there's the other side of the coin, but yeah, I agree. I mean, I certainly don't want to hinder a negotiation position in the future, so I'm okay leaving it on this budget the way it is, and I think addressing it down the line when we do actually have hiring happening.
More than likely, at some point in time, we'll have to have a special town meeting in the fall. So I don't think it'll be an inconvenience to adjudicate the salary at that point. We'll have enough of the budget to tide us over at least for 3 or 4 months.
Good point. Mr. Drossine.
Good evening, everyone. I apologize for not being there this evening. I had grandchildren to watch this evening, so they're all in bed. I can talk. Just on the budget for the town manager, I would suggest just kind of leaving it where it is for now, and negotiate when the time comes. I agree with John in that case. It's pretty likely that we're going to end up with a special town meeting in October, and generally because it's an educated guess to hit our vocational ed budget. Generally, we try to take a look at that vocational ed budget at that time and maybe can lower it and reduce taxes a little bit on the town. So at the same time, we can then make any adjustments that may eat to the town manager budget.
Billy, quick question. Can we legally transfer money into the excess in the vocational ed budget to the town manager budget without going to a special town meeting? Or do we have to go to a special?
That could only take place in May of the next fiscal year. So conceivably, depending upon where the negotiations went with the new town manager, depending upon where that went, would definitely give us an idea of where we could make that adjustment if we would have enough money to cover the budgets.
Yep.
I can comment on that. If you have a special town meeting before the tax rate has been set, you can change anything that you did back in May to adjust for current circumstances.
All right, sounds like a plan.
Okay.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you, Mr. Drossine. In light of the comments, I'll read the whole budget for everyone. It's the town manager budget. Total budget of salaries and expenses is $209,373. That's a $7,710 increase, 3.82% from the previous fiscal year. Expenses are down and salaries are up for our wage step and cost of living adjustments. TA for me.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I'm going to ask Tom Manager one question. In this fiscal year, we had a part-time worker in the select board town manager's office for 10 or 12 hours a week. Is that still in this budget?
Yes, it is.
And you plan on funding, occupying that position when you have the right candidate, right?
We can do.
We have advertised the position.
Okay, thank you.
And have not started in.
So that's still in here?
Yes.
Good.
Thank you.
Definitely.
Okay. Mr. Hutchison, there was also, along with budgets, you want to address this in the next agenda item or within the context of this, others as needed? It's a major budgetary issues for fiscal year 2026 handout.
Yeah,
Do you want
that's
to
the
review
next
this?
item.
What's that?
Oh, right, budget planning. Yes, this would be a good place to address that. Just got some information in, and it was from the schools, and the increase was more than I had expected. So I gave you the Dalton operating and capital assessments. They were adopted Thursday evening. And again, a little bit more than I'd been expecting, considerably more than I'd been expecting. The total rise in the district budget is a little over $600,000.
Our share of the district.
Yes,
Yes.
of our share, sorry. And I have those that, just basic figures for you on one sheet. And on another sheet, I've just copied those over, and I've also added in all the town insurances, which together total an additional $342 and $91. And together, those two categories of budget items are $942,150. I just wanted to draw that to everyone's attention so that the scale of those rises can be appreciated in the context of the budget as a whole. If our budget were, well, let's say it's maybe a 4% increase in our budget just with those two items. It would be a 5% increase if it were $1 million out of 20 million. And it's a little under $1 million, and our budget's a little over 22 million, maybe 23. So under 5%, but still considerably more than the 2.5% that we try to aim for. So that is those two items represent a really major request of the town in terms of money, and not much we can do really about either. Not about the insurances, of course. There could be floor fights about the school funding, but a lot of that comes. But under the third item down, that $262,000 raise, that represents the increase due to the bond for the new school, the permanent bond coming online.
Oh, the 262,000.
So the more normal increase without that, it would have been less. So just thought I would bring that to everyone's attention so that we can look at the rest of the budget in perspective.
Well, it's important to point out that the town's operating budget and the CVRSD, the town's portion of the Central Berkshire Regional School District budget, are voted on separately at town meeting. They have their own warrant items, and they can be debated and discussed at that time. We'll see where that leads. Obviously, with the $262,000 increase in the debt service due to the new school, there's not much we can do about that. Yeah, this is challenging, and I think we're not alone. I think this is pretty common across many towns with the insurance increase, for sure.
And I apologize if this has been an item not anticipated 48 hours before the meeting, but I think we just effectively moved that up into the budget planning presentation. I did say any others as needed.
I think that's fine.
So I think we're covered there.
Yeah, and this won't be the last conversation on this either, so.
No.
There's still a total budget, total operating budget to look at in the context of everything. Okay. Any questions from the board regarding this item this time? All right. Item number 7, the proposed town meeting capital items and other warrant articles. I would propose we could maybe look at the capital items first. I know Bud has been waiting patiently.
Sure.
Back there. And then we can look at the draft warrant after. Again.
And this will be an item under Article 22 in the warrant.
Okay.
I think that's where it is.
Hey, Bud.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Okay. Article 22.
So I brought this up, I don't know, maybe a month ago, 3 weeks ago. I came and presented this, I think you
I
asked
understand
about
that
that.
one, but
Yep. So we kind of went through it. I had a quote for a truck, which I think would be what the town needs. It's combining 3 vehicles. We have now 2 trucks and 1 trailer, all to 1 unit. We have a lot of different things we need to do in town. Will be catch basins, it's running sewer lines, it's cleaning sewer manholes. This would be able to excavate too, choose water to clean around things. If you're in there's gas lines, water lines, everything tied together. So this is something we need to replace. It's replacing a 1988 truck, it's replacing a 1992 truck, and a 2007 sewer flusher trailer that we have. In the sewer system we have 70 hours a week. We have to put it in the sewer system every week. Hour-wise, man hours. Between myself, the foreman, we pay 1 operator just out of sewer. And also the administrative assistant, a couple hours. So sewers, it's a big part of our job in town, and it's a big expense, and I get it, like I said last time, but I think it's the option we need to do. I looked at just to replace a flusher, like just a truck with a flusher on it, as opposed to the back, to do the catch basins and everything else I want to do. And the city of Pittsfield just bought one, and it was $369,000. So for me, for what I want is $539. That would get me to do all the catch basins and everything else as well. And I think, talking to the guys at work, how we would be in much better shape for doing issues we have in town. I think it'd be a big asset for us to have. And I know it's a big ask, especially after just hearing what Tom just mentioned as well.
and so this would be for regularly scheduled maintenance as well as emergencies.
Yes.
Maybe you can tell us a little bit about emergency response and
Emergencies,
how that strains the department's resources.
That does as well. Sometimes we get sewer calls, like we were, Thursday night, we were actually over here on the corner for, it was like 10 o'clock at night, there was a little issue over there, so we had to come attend to it. But, we get called out for emergencies here and there, usually for sewer issues, because the infrastructure's old. We have issues, we fix what we can when we find it. But there's just some places, it's a little tougher to do. We fixed a lot last year with the sewer project. We did $700,000 worth of work, most of it the south side. But we got a lot of repairs done, so we're in a lot better shape than we used to be. But we still have, dated infrastructure. So for maintenance wise, it'd be a game changer for us to get everything done. We need to get done. And also with the catch basins, we gotta do them every year through our MS4, which is our stormwater permit. And right now we're renting a truck for 1 month. So when I have that month, I have 2 guys in that truck for the month. So I gotta get them all done in a month. If I was to have this, we can spread it out over the year to get it done. It really is hard. Like last year was a little tougher because we were down 2 guys. Like we were trying to hire 2 people. I had 2 people in the truck, so we were running around crazy. But this would give us a lot more flexibility to get all the jobs done and getting it done. And, that's kind of my point to it.
Any questions from members of the board? I know Mr. Collins had some comments last meeting, but
I don't see, I mean, it's a great truck. I think it'd be great for our town to have, but I just don't see, I had maps that I handed out for last meeting. I spent, about 4 hours, maybe a little more, driving around town, thinking where your truck could and couldn't go. You got about 2.5 to 3 miles that you can't even access.
I saw that map, and unless you're gonna drop something in with a helicopter,
you could get your trailer there.
I can't get my trailer there. To those places you're talking about, I can't get my trailer there. We run them from each side. We run it from the road from one side to the other in the woods. We don't tow anything into the woods. We never have. As I've been here
I just followed the
13
sewer
years.
line, bud. I followed the sewer.
No, I'm just saying, I saw your map,
Uh,
and some of the places you had marked off that we didn't do, we do all the time, like we did today. We're out doing the route today.
All right.
You know, I'm just.
With the trailer, with the trailer.
Yeah, which.
But not with a big truck.
Absolutely, yeah. Everywhere we went today, we could go with the
All
truck.
right.
The truck.
Um,
And I went to see you, I waited for you.
yeah, I know, and I
on
was, I
Thursday.
understand, my apologies.
No, I'm just mentioning.
But I don't feel that, you know, this kind of money to be spent right now. I talked to Sandy, these trucks have a 12 to 15 year life expectancy. And you could rent a truck. I would rather see the town let you have, rent a truck for 3 months or 4 months during the summer.
So
And-
over
and-
10 years, that'd be 600,000 or 800,000.
I know, but we're
The
looking at,
truck's
we're looking at a
549.
12 to 15 year life expectancy, and the maintenance on these trucks, which he hasn't brought up, is somewhere between $10,000 and $15,000 a year. And, I mean, that's gonna be a major cost, you know.
I mean, I don't see it being that much. I mean, that's what
I
you're
mean, I
saying.
own one of these trucks.
I know you do. We maintain it, we're very thorough, what we do at the garage with cleaning everything, if you've ever been over there.
And they just have maintenance on them.
But I understand that. We will have, you know, there's gonna be maintenance issue, you know, I know there's gonna be. And I'm just trying to do the best for the town, is what I'm trying to do, that's all. You know, I think to me it'd be an asset. Another trailer, then I gotta get a truck, or $369 for just the jetter, and then I still gotta rent something to do the catch basins. To me, I don't know, I see it, a combo truck being the way to go. That's just our opinion at the highway garage, not even just mine, the gentleman as well.
We're gonna, Bob, just one moment, I'm gonna make one comment quickly. Well, I do appreciate Mr. Collins' comments and observations, but I have to defer to your professional opinion as you're the hired person in this role, coming to the board and saying, this is what I need to do my job.
Right.
And that does carry a lot of weight. Obviously, we can ask questions and
Yeah.
try to see if there's a better way to do it.
Right.
But I'm not gonna, I don't think we should stand here and, you know, say we necessarily know better.
Well, I get it.
But certainly we wanna do our due diligence and figure out if this is the right expense for this year, you know?
Yeah, no, and I understand, I totally
Yeah.
get that too.
Bob, wanted to speak first and then you next.
Yeah, I get the whole idea of renting something for 3 months and stuff, but then there's 9 months. You know, our sewer system's pretty damn old. And I've seen, especially on a weekend or something, what are you gonna do? Tell somebody you can't unplug them? I totally agree with, to get this thing. And that's all, I'm in favor of getting it. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Boyle.
Bob just took the word right out of my mouth. I talked to Bob Collins too about this, about the feasibility of renting it, and he said approximately $15,000 a month, right?
Yeah.
But you only got that truck for that month, and probably only during the daytime.
Yeah.
I don't know how it works. Yet, the scope of your services that you provide are 24/7.
That's
right? Am I correct in saying that?
Correct, yes.
Yeah. You reiterate what Bob says, if somebody's got a clock, you're out there.
Okay.
But if you don't have the truck anymore, you can't do that.
We won't welcome to it in anymore. So,
a good, you know, a perfect example of that was not this past Christmas Eve, but the Christmas Eve before. We were actually at Brittany's house all Christmas Eve, was backed up. And we had to call someone, had to call on Myrtle to get somebody to come and back out. Well, we finally got through to break through, but we were there for hours.
But how many calls do you estimate that you have off hours and weekends in a year?
In a year, I'd probably say 6 a month or so, maybe a little more a month, depending. You know, we try to do our best to keep things clean.
So between 70 and 80 a year?
Probably.
The town, he's also contracted with FERCog and Berkshire County Regional Planning Commission. That's also has vac trucks, and not just mine, but other companies that you can contact during that 24-hour emergency. I just feel that this expenditure is a ridiculous overhead for this town. And I work for 34 towns, the size of Dalton, smaller and bigger, and none of them have a combo truck because of the cost. and because of the overhead on it. It's not, I'm not saying this because I don't want our town to have disability. I'm saying this because I just don't believe that that's the right machine for this town. It's the Cadillac, and it's great, and I think, you know, what has, you know, when he rents, I understand what he's saying, and that's why I'm saying I would rather, you know, maybe pass this on, get him another jetter truck. You know, I know the one that Pittsfield just got, it's once again, that's the big one. I mean, you've used a trailer for 22 years. And I'm really like to see it stick to that. But it's not, you know, ultimately, it's not gonna be my decision here to move it on or not. It's gonna be ultimately the taxpayers. And if this is gonna be moved on as a warrant, then we'll just see what the taxpayers, how they feel.
Well, I assume, yeah, I mean, I understood that part.
Yeah, I mean, I think, frankly, I would like to let the taxpayers decide as well. I mean, again, my head of the highway department making a request that'll have a very obvious impact on their ability to plan out their work with sewer maintenance over time. That'll help with payroll costs, I think, as well as respond to emergencies. I could support it and let the town debate it at town meeting and see if they want to support it or not.
I support it. I mean, I'm not gonna vote no on this and take the voice away from the voters. It's a town meeting. So I support this, going forward and let the town decide at the town meeting.
Yeah.
I agree. So, are we, like, you want to vote or what? Are we gonna put it in as a warrant item?
It's on the warrant.
Oh, it's on the warrant? Okay.
Just the dollar amount hasn't, you know.
Yeah, and
Tom can clarify.
As for that, you heard Dawn mention that we're considering putting it under the borrowing article rather than the free cash article.
Yeah.
Borrowing would be Article 23. It's under Article 22 now. But it is a major expense, and putting it with the other major expenses makes sense.
And the other side of this is if we ended up with another jetter, that's something that may be able to come out of the sewer stabilization fund. It could be written, maybe possibly just be paid for. I don't know what the max on that would be, but then that wouldn't have any major burden to the taxpayer.
Well, if, let's say the voters were to approve the expenditure, I mean, could a portion of it be funded from the sewer stabilization fund and not have to be all debt funded?
Is that a Bill or a Sandy question?
I was directing it to the town manager for now, but
Yeah,
looks like we have Sandy, town accountant, with her hand raised.
I just wanted to say, whichever way you decide, if the townspeople decide that they want the truck, and if you use sewer stabilization or bond, the bond will have to go on the sewer rate. So it's gonna be 1/5 of, if it's a bonded for 5 years, it'll be 1/5 on the sewer rate, which means we'll be increasing the sewer rate. Keep that in mind. If you use sewer stabilization to pay for the whole thing, that's more than half of what we have in sewer stabilization right now, I believe. So that sewer stabilization has been used to help offset the cost of when the intergovernmental sewer bill comes from Pittsfield higher than our budget. So keep that in mind.
Didn't we see a large increase in that bill from Pittsfield, but it is expected to now kind of level out and be not as drastic of an increase?
This year will be very similar to last year.
Yeah.
After this year, it should be better.
I see.
And we have not seen that bill yet, just so you know.
No.
We don't know what the difference is gonna be between the budget and that bill.
Sandy, when do we usually get that bill?
Sometimes you get it before December, sometimes we don't. It's very late right now, and I don't understand why it's not here. So it's already March.
Is that bill based on when we get the bill, is it based on the flow for a calendar year or for the fiscal year?
It's the fiscal fiscal year expenditures for FY '24.
Oh,
So I
okay.
don't under-
So last,
Yes,
up until last July or June 30th.
yes.
Okay.
That's why I don't understand why it's not.
Well, it's not here, yeah, it's 9 months later, huh?
Right.
Thank you. So, moving on.
Does it require a TA? Whoever is wanting to do that, I'll TA for the record.
Yeah, we're all in agreement. Bob?
You know,
Agree with
Okay. Mr. Collins is not. Okay.
Bob?
There's also,
Bob says TA.
okay.
Yeah,
Thank you, Bob. There's another item for you as well, Bud,
Is
the
there?
sidewalk.
the sidewalk, the street scan, the sidewalks. Is there both options on that, or just, there was two, I don't have that.
There's two.
There is two, there's one to do the ADA ramps, I think, so that would be the two prices together.
Oh, yeah.
All that, to survey those as well, that's more, hands-on.
Mm-hmm.
They actually, for the sidewalks, as opposed to the car, they drive over the sensors, they use a scooter and drive without sensors.
is there a grant or anything for that you know
Not that I know of.
I know.
But, I mean, we have the software, so it's just adding to that, at least
Okay.
it's not that part of the cost, at least.
I think that's a great
Adds,
idea.
adds right in, well, it totally is.
I think that's a great idea. Because all our roads are done, right?
Yes,
Just
yeah,
be adding the next
yeah,
layer.
probably next year I'll put in the budget to rescan the roads.
Yeah.
Every
Yeah.
4 years-ish, they say to do it, so next year I'll put in for that, so it's
Okay.
2022.
I think that's part of a good forward plan.
Yeah, we should roll the ADA.
Yeah, I think, I thought so as
portion into
well.
it, I
Totally.
believe. Okay. So a total of $15,725 for sidewalk management and ADA ramp data collection through Street Scan to help us prioritize our capital planning for sidewalk improvements.
Yes.
TA for me.
Yep.
And-
That was good.
And just back to what we just TA'd for the, just for the benefit of the audience, they may have heard the number through our conversation, but it's a capital request that'll go onto the town meeting warrant for $539,561 for the procurement of a sewer jetter and vacuum truck and catch base cleaner for the town highway department, public works.
On the warrant, I did notice that there was a date. I don't know if that's, we do that now, but we're in the warrants.
Yep, we can definitely address that. Bookmark that for a second. I want to see if there's any more capital items to discuss tonight. None for you?
None for me.
All right, thanks,
All
Bud.
right, thank you.
Take
All right,
care.
bud.
Mr. Hutchison, any other capital items for discussion tonight?
No, again, just, I would recommend 20,000 for painting the walls on the second floor in Town Hall, and, I would like to be able to budget $30,000 for an update to the town's wage classification system. It cost us less than 20 last time, but they did not review the, union agreements as part of the overall, study, and I'd like to get the comps on that, even though we know a lot of them. And there are a few other items that I'd like to ask, Fair Labor Standards Act, compliance and provisions, putting all those, another review of the job descriptions and things like that. So I would be comfortable with budgeting a little bit more so that we could, make sure that we could get everything that we wanted.
It was
would probably be done for 25, but I just as soon make sure we are in a position to get everything.
Okay. And those would be transfers from
Free cash.
free cash, yeah. Right. I think we had already discussed the painting previously,
Yeah.
so
Tyler, when
the
you
waste
say the
scale
second-
classification study, did we discuss that yet?
Oh, get back to the painting. When you say the second floor, what does that mean? Yeah,
The floor.
is that the main floor?
Financial town
Main floor.
manager, town clerk.
Thanks, got it.
Yeah,
Some people think of that as the first floor. Yeah.
yeah.
Just want to clarify.
And then the third floor is always called the third floor, which is,
Yeah,
we're missing.
I shouldn't even be there, but hey, it's there. Come on.
And then, yes, I did notice the date at the end under Article 29, it says 2024.
Yep.
Uh,
It's certainly, 13th should be it.
And,
Oh, yeah,
yeah, that was it.
just carry it over. Yeah,
And Heather was looking at this too, of course.
yes,
Uh,
okay.
So that's,
All right, so now we're into draft warrant review. I know we started this last meeting, and this is kind of a continuation of this agenda item. And it may not certainly be the last time we look at this either. So any comments for this evening or anything you want to point out, Tom, that's different from last time to help the board?
no, I think, I think it's pretty close to being ready. I did take out the placeholder for Article 1, and things are as they are now.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, the other one was requesting a bylaw change to remove the residency requirement from the Town Manager Act. That can be done through a town meeting. We don't have to go to the legislature for that.
Why don't we put that on next week's agenda to actually discuss that by itself?
Yeah.
I think that makes sense.
But we still have time though. There's time.
Oh, yeah.
We do,
Yeah,
we do still have time. That way it's posted on the agenda and interested members of the town, can come and hear that discussion or participate if they'd like.
And in the meantime, I'll come up with a draft. So that
Perfect.
something to
Thank
talk
you.
And that's a simple signature, right, Tom? That's the 10, that you only need 10 signatures for that one?
about.
No, we could put,
Because we can put it
the
up.
board could put articles
Okay.
on as long as there's a majority. vote.
Majority, okay.
But it'd be nice to post it on the agenda so that the public can see that that's what's going to get discussed and possibly decided upon at the next meeting. Okay, any other items on this agenda item? All good? Okay, moving on to number 8, proposal to schedule a joint meeting with the Public Safety Facility Advisory Committee.
Yes, this came up at the meeting where Craig Wilbur had, maybe Dave can speak to this. The committee thought that it would be a good idea to have, at some point, one meeting, or perhaps more than one meeting, with both the Select Board and the Public Safety Facility Advisory Committee, just to improve communication and try to smooth any further process.
I think it's a great idea. I fully support it. In fact, when is the next Public Safety Facility Advisory Committee meeting? It's April.
They are waiting for the architect to be available. And that was going to be at least 3 weeks from the last meeting. We should probably make it at least 2 weeks from now. Are you, do you have a sense?
I heard April 3rd mentioned.
Oh.
April 3rd is what I heard from Craig as well.
Oh, okay.
For the next meeting. So, I think it's a great idea. I'm committed to attending. If it's on the 3rd, that's great. It's at 6 p.m., I believe. Is that correct? Not. Or 5:30?
Yeah, 5, I believe.
5. What does the rest of the board feel about having a joint meeting with the committee?
Maybe they should be, is this architect coming to meet with them?
He should
Dave?
be on Zoom.
Well, again, same question. Is he coming to meet with the board and impart knowledge and ask for items on the committee? Or is he coming specifically for a joint meeting?
We haven't set a joint meeting yet, so he doesn't,
He doesn't know about it.
he's not aware of that,
I say we,
as far as I know, unless you already broached it with, unless someone's broached it.
exactly.
Yeah.
I'd entertain a motion, if anyone has one.
I'm gonna make a motion that we have a joint meeting to see where the committee stands at this time, and if they have any questions or concerns, or we have questions or concerns to them, that they can be shared and reviewed.
And the only thing I would say is it would be after April 3rd.
Yeah, Bob, I agree with you completely. But again, this architect
Did
issue.
someone want to I'll second it for discussion, just so we get in discussion. It's been seconded. All right.
I guess I'm in agreement with Mark. Maybe it should be after April. Like what I was saying, I agree with Mark. Maybe it ought to be another date other than April 2nd when you're meeting with your architect.
Any thoughts?
I don't know that we are meeting with the architect. I'd like to give you a little bit of background, if I may. A week ago Monday, Craig and I attended the select board meeting in Lanesboro. Lanesboro is going through a very similar situation as Dalton in that they're trying to build a new police station. They've had several attempts at it that have been voted down. So they started meeting together with the select board and the building committee. And they've sent out questionnaires to the town to get the town's opinion. So that 6% of the people say this, 35% of the people say that. So they've tried to get information from the people so that they can make informed, intelligent decisions. By meeting together, it seems that they're very harmonious. They seem to know what the other half is doing. It seems to be a very productive coming together of the two boards. I would encourage it myself. I would ask you to adopt this. Makes a lot of sense to me that we're all on the same page. If we have any questions, if we have what ifs, there's a lot of hard questions that need to be asked. And this is probably the forum that we could ask a lot of these and maybe get some group decisions as to what direction we want to go.
Okay.
Oh, it still doesn't answer the question about the architect. But anyway, I agree with Mark.
Mr. Doyle, this is Craig Wilbur,
Yeah.
the chair.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm calling from Zoom. I'm not sure if my
Okay,
audio is working.
Greg, please.
Mr. Wilbur, please weigh in. Yes, thank you.
So first of all, yeah, we are preparing for another meeting with Mr. Humes, which will be another deliverable similar to what you heard in previous meetings. We would like that to be done in a joint meeting with the select board and the public facilities safety committee, because we believe there'll be some decisions, some questions that will come out of that meeting. And we feel that it would be valuable to have both the committee and the board together for that presentation.
Okay, that answers my question. Therefore, we should schedule a meeting when the architect is going to be here. It'll probably be at 5 o'clock, right?
Yeah. We've been meeting at 5:30, he's our
Well,
meeting, but we'll certainly
I'll
accommodate.
leave it up to you, Dan.
And he's, we can verify the code.
Okay, I appreciate that context, Craig. And so the motion is simply just that we be committed to having a joint meeting.
Right.
And we will determine If it's the 3rd, just let us know as soon as possible what's scheduled. I'll be happy to come to the 3rd, but if it's with the architect and you're not ready for the 3rd, just let us know when we should be there. And then we can make sure that everyone is informed.
Perfect.
Okay, so the motion was made
Hey, Bob?
and seconded. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Okay,
Perfect.
motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Looking forward to it.
Yes.
Yeah,
As am I.
excellent. Okay. We're now on to item number 10, sign the seasonal renewal certification for alcohol licenses for ABCC. So, motion to open as a licensing board.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Just to make this short and sweet, we don't have any seasonal licenses.
Yeah, there's none, so we're signing a blank form, that's my understanding.
Yes.
Which is,
The general license board.
so we just need to, will Bob sign this when he comes back? So I leave space at the top for him?
As long as we have a quorum, we're good.
All right.
We do have time before we have to send it in, but it is on a timeline.
Okay, everyone can sign this, and while we do that, motion to adjourn as licensing board.
Did you actually move
Second.
it to
Yeah?
approve it? Oh,
What are we approving?
I thought you just opened it.
We did not move to approve it.
Approve, what were
I
we
didn't think
approving?
anything was there to approve, because there's no actual,
Approve signing the form.
okay.
Make a motion.
Want to just withdraw that motion?
Sure. I'll withdraw my last motion.
Okay, we're still open as licensing board, and someone can make a motion to approve, to sign.
Make a motion, we send the seasonal license.
Second.
form.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, now we can motion to close.
Motion to close licensing board.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, thank you for the procedural clarification there.
Okay.
All right, items not anticipated 48 hours before the meeting. Anything?
I have none.
Okay. So, future agenda items is normally posted on our agenda, and it's not on this agenda.
Oh,
Uh,
sorry.
That being said, I believe that we do have items that need to be on the next agenda that we discussed this evening. Do we need to review them now, or do you have a good list? Do you have good notes?
I'm good.
Okay. All right. Remarks of the select board. I just wanted to, and I didn't do this earlier, so I kind of wanted to minimize the time spent on it, but I just wanted to publicly state that the comments from Henry Rose regarding the composition of the town manager screening committee, that the people on that list would naturally be predisposed to the largest police department one could imagine, something along those lines in the iBerkshire article today and in the comments he made last week. And I find that, frankly, it's insulting to the people who wanted to volunteer their time on the committee, that people are making judgments about that are really not founded in any sort of factual basis. It's just their opinion, and frankly, I don't understand why it was even given the media attention that it was. But I take issue with that statement. I think it was incredibly judgmental and presumptive as to those people's motivations. They're just good people who want to serve the town and volunteer, and to pass judgment like that was unfair. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. I agree.
Can I say something to you?
Sure.
Now,
Absolutely. Remarks of the
yes,
select
yes.
board. I don't
I'd
want
like
to say
to,
something.
a few brief comments over this petition article that's been filed by a group of 17 dedicated Daltonians. And this warrant article calls for the providing for re-election recall elections in the town of Dalton. Now, 17 people out of 5,000 signed this petition. And to me, speaking only for myself now, not the board, I find it personally insulting. There is a perfectly good recall system available to Daltonian voters. in case you don't know what it is called an election. So I resent anybody that signed this petition. I think a lot of people signed it not knowing because it was obviously circulated at a town, select board meeting because all these people were here. So it was just passed around and signed without even thinking. I don't even think recall elections are legal. It has to be authorized by the state legislature, but that remains to be clarified. But hey, I find this real bothersome. It's in the same vein as Mr. Rose criticizing the initial selection of participants for the committee and questions their integrity. I don't know what has happened to this town. It didn't used to be this divisive. Now everything you do is subject to criticism by members of the board. I mean, members of the audience. Not all, but some. It seems the same all the time, the same some. And I know who. Pretty good idea. I didn't ask. I could find out who circulated this petition, but I really don't want to know for a lot of reasons. But I did. I resent it personally very much.
Can I say something to them? I totally.
Absolutely not.
As far as I'm concerned, it's a bunch of BS.
Yeah. BS is a polite word, Dan.
A few people out of 5,000, and honestly, all it's gonna do is create a mob justice system. I mean, it's just gonna start election after election, recall after recall, and it's not gonna stop.
Yeah, obviously, it's directed at the select board. Because I don't think anybody's talking about the library trustees or the moderator. Or we elect members of the housing authority too, I think. So, to me, it's a very, very personal issue. A very sad day when some piece of garbage like this comes across our desk. But, that's what we get the big bucks for.
Any other remarks of selectmen?
Well, I'm one of the ones that signed that.
Good.
And I don't have a problem with it for the sense that it shows accountability. And it's not an easy process for anybody to do a recall vote.
50 signatures? I collect 50 signatures in
No,
an hour.
no, it's 50 signatures to enact the recall vote. That then,
What? It says right here, you need 50 signatures to call a recall election.
Nope, that's not true. 50 signatures is just to initiate.
Let's
the
initiate.
process.
This is just.
That isn't the recall.
This is just comments, the select board period. We are almost at the end of our agenda. This is not a discussion with members of the audience at this time. These are just comments from individual select board members on really any matters that they want to comment on. We normally don't say a lot during this time, but I felt the need to say something about my topic, and so did Mr. Boyle and Mr. Bishop, and Collins is responding to them, so that's appropriate, I think, but.
and I feel that if someone thinks that I did something egregious and was totally wrong and I was in my first or second year of being a selectman and they felt that I didn't have the right to go on and represent this town, then I would welcome them to go through the process of initial 50 and then have to go get in another 400 signatures in a matter of, I think it's 10 days, to make it viable for a recall vote.
Usually, an egregious act such as this is prompted by some kind of demand. Believe me, I've been around a long time, and I've never seen the necessity of going to the position.
Maybe it'll never be used, but what's wrong with it being there?
Because, never mind.
Here's what I'd like to propose. Rather than having a back and forth on this, you responded, you stated you responded, I think we'll leave it at that. If the board decides that they want to discuss this item further in advance of town meeting, we certainly could decide to put it on a future agenda. But I'll leave it at that.
And then I have one more thing that
Yeah,
possibly could be put on a. We're coming into a lot of questions that the town's opinion and we may want with the search for the new town manager. I had brought up in the past that, possibly we look at like Flash Vote, the service that sends out information to all our registered voters in town. We can ask them specific questions and they come back and the organization will give us the percentage in a broke down of demographics for the town and their vote and the representation. I think that should be something that maybe our select board should look into
Okay.
for possibility for keeping, you know, tabs on how our voters, you know, possibly feel electronically. It seems to be the age, and emails. And I just think that that may help us in the next coming year, 6 months, with all the possible decisions that we have to make. It might be easier to know what the public's thinking when you sit down.
It would've been nice to know the public's thinking about this garbage petition before you filed it.
Okay.
Yeah, well, that's the way I feel about it.
Well, you know
I
what, he has
respect
a
that,
right, he has a right to
Yeah.
sign a petition.
Yeah,
and
I
be
didn't
part
say
of
that, but
So let's respect each other's positions and ability to participate in the way that we see fit. So I'll respect that, and I'll respect each of your opinions.
Announcements?
And we just have the announcements to go through, which I'm gonna grab your agenda now. Put my agenda way right. Sorry, I got way ahead of myself. Anyone have an agenda? No, thank you, sir. All right. The deadline for obtaining nomination papers for the May 12th election is Monday, March 24th at 5 p.m. That's a week from today. The town is seeking volunteers, including for its cultural council, responsible for reviewing arts and culture grant proposals and approving projects. If you're interested in being on the Dalton Housing Authority Board, please call Sue Gregory at 684-2493. For other volunteer opportunities, please visit the town's website. The Dalton Police Department is reminding the citizens of Dalton of the winter parking ban, which is still in effect until April 15, 2025, between the hours of 1 a.m. and 6 a.m. During this time, there will be no parking allowed on the streets. The town is contracted with Colonial Power to provide an electricity plan for town residents. For more detail or to opt in or out, visit the town's website or call the town manager's office. The town of Dalton currently has the following employment opportunities: town manager, administrative assistant for the senior center, interdepartmental assistant, assessor's clerk, DPW seasonal laborers. Please visit the town website or contact the town manager's office for more information. Dalton's official meeting postings, agendas, and minutes can be viewed at mytowngovernment.org/01226. The next regular select board meeting is scheduled to take place on Monday, March 24th, 2025 at 7 p.m. at the Senior Center with an option for remote participation. And with that, we have a motion to adjourn.
so moved. Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Good night, Dalton. Thank you.